my highest good. What do I want? What do I desire? What will bring me to my highest good? Prosperity, prosperity, I claim it, claim it. Abundance is mine. Love flow through me. I feel joy all the time. I can have it, I deserve it, I claim it, it is mine. I can have it, I deserve it, I am it, it is mine. Peace flows through me, I surrender everything. Health is my birthright. Passion makes me sing. Say, I have it, I deserve it, I claim it, it is mine. Can have it, I deserve it, I am it, it's my time. Yeah. Yeah, anything I want, anything I desire, what will bring me to my highest good? Yeah, anything I want, anything I desire, anything that brings me to my highest good, I release and let go. I accept what is mine. I can have what I want, and let Spirit direct the flow. Life is good, life is fun, life is great. This song is done.
Please join me in prayer. We are very grateful to come together on this beautiful March day to celebrate the allness and oneness and fullness of the one perfect life that permeates all of creation, that makes each and every one of us out of its own image becomes what it loves. This power is perfect, whole, and complete in form and substance. And we are perfect, whole, and complete by divine design. All that God is, each and every one of us are in microcosm, unique individual expression. And we come together today to celebrate passion and flow. And Spirit will speak through Fran Winslow to tell each and every person within the sound of my voice what it is they need to hear in order to fully express as they were sent here to do. I give thanks for everyone that came together to make this service possible, for our music, for our technology, our practitioners, our ushers, our hospitality team, our members who are here, lending their love, light, and energy to this space as we recognize the beauty of all there is. I give thanks for everybody in this space, for everybody within the sound of my voice, and for everybody in the world, and release these words into divine law where they're already done in the universal mind. I let this go, I let it be. Together we affirm, and so it is. Our first words of inspiration today come from Eileen Caddy. Have no fear of moving into the unknown. Simply step out fearlessly, knowing that I am with you. All is very well. Do this in complete faith and confidence. And our second set is from Patanjali, probably butchered that. Patanjali says that when you're inspired by some great purpose, some extraordinary project, all your thoughts break their bounds. Your mind transcends limitations. Your conscience expands in every direction. And you find yourself in a new, great, and wonderful world. Dormant forces, faculties become alive, and you discover yourself to be a greater person by far than you ever dreamed yourself to be. From our founder, the Honorable Dr. Ernest Holmes, the forces of nature are not coerced, they are directed. So the powers of the mind and spirit are not commanded, they are commandeered. The universal flow is forever taking place. The turning of this flow into the channels of constructive thought is an individual act. Thus, we specialize in natural energy and utilize a power which otherwise remains chaotic in our individual lives. We have got Fran Winslow in the house. It's absolutely brilliant. It's been a while since Fran visited with us. And of course, you guys know that I keep a rap sheet on all our visitors. And I got Fran's here. Just some reminders about Fran. She's a licensed practitioner, very close to finishing ministerial school, a retired registered nurse, having spent 20 years at the University of Iowa hospitals, the last 10 of which were in chronic pain management. As a single mom, Fran left nursing and embarked on a medical sales career to make ends meet for her family. After several years in sales, Fran experienced extreme burnout, allowing her to look at life differently. Fran worked with an energy coach who suggested Mile High Church, and of course, the rest is history. She's a certified life coach and a speaker, and is she's well into her last year of ministerial studies, and currently employed as an intensive skills coach with the Jefferson Center for Mental Health on the Trauma Systems Therapy team, and works with families and children who've undergone violence and trauma. Such a light in the world. Come on up, Fran.
I'm so happy to be with you. It has been a minute, hasn't it? I really appreciated when Russ reached out to me about this book. I don't know if y'all are reading it, The Art of Abundance, but it is a great book. I hadn't read it before, and every time I pick up an abundance book, I think I get a couple of aha moments. So if you aren't reading it, I suggest getting it and giving it a whirl. In fact, I was late to the plate in choosing the rules to talk about, and I was like, wow, I really would like to talk about flow and passion, and those were the only two left, so it worked out really well. So Spirit works in mysterious ways sometimes, doesn't it? So the first thing we're going to talk about this morning is being in the flow. And boy, does it feel good when we're in the flow, doesn't it? All the good is coming to us and we don't think about anything. So my question is, where do you start? Do you start with giving? Do you start with receiving? What keeps you in that flow? Think about it. Are you giving to get? Or are you giving from the heart? Are you receiving and not giving? So where do you start? You start with both. Because what you have to do is give up the idea that you have to start anywhere. Give up the attachment. Because I think of it this way. The universe knows a lot more about abundance than I do. The quote by Dennis Jones, who wrote this book, says this: "Before you can manifest more of whatever it is you desire, you have to first prove to the universe that you are capable of having it by developing a consciousness that affirms there is no shortage of that which you seek." So we have to let go of our attachment to things. I've got a little story for you about my little dog, Lillian. She's a little hairless chihuahua, so twice a day I bundle her up and I take her outside to do her stuff. And I bring with me these little bags that I get from the dollar store. And I love the economy of getting those little bags from the dollar store. It used to be just $1, now it's $1.25. But I had trouble finding them at the dollar store. So anytime I would go to a dollar store, I'd take them all off the rack. And I'd put them in my drawer at home. And then when I get low again, I'd go and try and find them, and I couldn't find them anywhere. And then when I did, I'd do the same thing over and over. And it occurred to me, I was sending a message to the universe of scarcity and lack. The more that I hoarded or clung onto those little bags, I couldn't find them. So I decided to do a little experiment with that. And what I did was, when I would find them, I would take one off the rack, go home, and put it in my drawer. And when the supply got low, I always find another one in the store. So it's a perfect scenario of how we cling on to things and we hang on to them. And what that does is it clogs the pipeline of universal flow. So when I think about universal flow, I think of it as an infinity symbol, the giving and the receiving. And see how that just flows naturally to us? So what keeps us from being in that flow all the time? And you'll be doing this all week now with me, I know. Yeah. Fear, scarcity, lack. We love being in the flow, especially when it's working for us. But we have to think about, as we bring in, we have to let go. And right now, that is a tough thing to do with everything that's going on in the world, isn't it? We talk about scarcity and lack. We're afraid that if we're on a fixed income, we're going to be able to afford things. Are we going to be tariffed? Are things growing in price? We can't even buy eggs, and so we create this chaos within our world, that we're hanging on to things and just clinging to them instead of letting go and know that we live in an abundant world where things come in. There's always enough for everybody, but there isn't when we cling and hang on. And I mean, after COVID, where there was a lack of toilet paper everywhere, you would think we had learned our lesson, but we didn't. We keep holding on. Lao Tzu says this: life is a series of natural and spontaneous changes. Don't resist them, because that only causes sorrow. Let things flow naturally forward in whatever way they like. One of my favorite authors, Virginia Woolf, says this: allow the pieces of your life to arrange themselves. There's no forcing. There's no negotiating with the universe. We're in that flow of bountiful good. So what keeps us from letting go? Where are you struggling with that clogged pipeline? Now, I have a story about the Jefferson Center, and as Russ talked about, I didn't tell him that I'm no longer there. But here's the story there. So I was working with families in trauma, and the company was having some problems financially, and they were laying off people. And since I'm sole income in my home, I got that intuitive hit. I really prayed about it and said, should I stay? Should I look for something else? And I got this really strong, emotional, intuitive hit. Fran, it's time for you to start looking. And I really didn't want to because I loved every single client I had. I loved the families. I loved the work I did. And I felt as though it wasn't time for me to go yet. And as I brought that into prayer, I realized that I was staying out of a sense of loyalty, which has kept me stuck in places in the past, and also some guilt. So as I began to let go of that, I decided, okay, Spirit, if I am to move on to something else, I want it to align with the morals and values that I have. I want to be able to bring in parts of my ministry until I'm a full-time minister into this position. I want to make more money, and I want more time off. And I want a life balance because I didn't have that at the Jefferson Center. And I told a friend, I will be done by the end of January. Fast forward, I got a call from a recruiter that said there's a position and I wanted to be with a nonprofit. There's a position with nonprofit where you'll be working with patients again, not as a nurse, but doing their case management stuff, which I love. It was more money. It was more time off. It was all about work-life balance. And boy, did it align with my morals and values. And so I took the position. And still, I felt that guilt as I gave my 2 weeks' notice. Just to my clients, I felt this horrendous guilt. And as I brought that into prayer, I realized they didn't need me anymore. They wanted me around. But we had done our hard work. We had gone through some major hurdles, and they were okay. I just had to tell them that. And so that's the story of letting go and being really aligned with letting go so that you can open that pipeline and put out there what you really want to do. Our founder, Ernest Holmes, says this. I've lost my, prosperity is the outpicturing of substance in our affairs. We must receive, utilize, and extend the gift. You know what he's saying there? As we talk about the giving and receiving, he's talking about that point in the middle where you utilize the gifts that come in. Because if you're not open to the flow. You are causing a clog in that pipeline. You have to utilize what comes into your life. Here's a beautiful example of this that Josh Reeves said in his abundance talk a few weeks ago. He said, how do we use compassion and kindness when it is given to us? You take it into your heart, you let it expand, and then you give it to others. So we're not just talking about things here. We're talking about the things that make us the thing itself. So I don't know about you, but for me, flow and passion come together. Wayne Dyer says this: strong emotions such as passion and bliss are indications that you're connected to spirit. He says, or inspired, as you will. When you are inspired, you activate dormant forces, and the abundance which you seek in any form comes streaming into your life. I think one way we can think about the clogs that happen in our life and the messages that we're giving, we're not inspired. Open up your clothes closet. You're hanging on to those clothes for when you get skinny. You're telling the universe, I'm not skinny. I'm not okay the way I am right now. Or what about those clothes that you're hanging on, my fat clothes. I've done that for years. I'm in my fat pants. I'm telling the universe, I'm not okay where I am right now. I need to gain some weight. I think the craziest message we have is when we open our refrigerator door and we look at all those condiments that we may use every once in a while, but they expired like 2 years ago. You know it, and you know it's the last thing you clean out. So why not be a joyful giver? Give away the skinny clothes, give away the fat clothes to somebody who can really use them, because if you haven't touched them in a year, you're probably not going to. Get rid of those condiments. Don't give them away to somebody that's going to get food poisoning, but throw them away. Be the happy thrower-awayer. Because it allows that, as Wayne Dyer talks about, the inspiration to come into your life and to really mold and shape who you are. What brings that surge of energy that's so important to you into your life? And we're not just talking about careers. We can be talking about starting an art class or learning how to do something. There's YouTube videos for everything you want to do. For me, it's being a minister. I get inspired by being here, right here with you. I get inspired when I'm out in the world and talking to people in community. Maybe it's being in community here that inspires you to do different things. What creates your passion? What have you put on hold all this time, and it's still deep within inside of you? Dennis Jones from the book says, perhaps the greatest reward that comes from passion is that when you are authentically passionate about your life, about what is yours to do, it opens one of the primary arteries through which universal abundance flows, which is joy. I love how he says that. The universal artery, that is a big time job. When it's open, wow, everything you seek comes right to you. You'll notice, and as we talk, the ministers that talked before me, Dr. Michelle and Reverend David, and the ones that talk after me, there's a common thread throughout all of this book. And that is finding oneness with the universe. Because that, my friends, is the secret to life. So this week, I have 2 questions for you. The first, are you currently doing what you love and loving what you're doing? And if not, why? Maybe you've been working in a factory for 30 years, getting ready to retire, and you don't want to give up that pension. That's okay. You can put that over to the side. What are the little things that you can do to bring that passion into your life? Are you of service? Community? Being a good friend, being a good neighbor, growing a garden. All things that are within your reach that allow you to take that first step into the greater beyond of your purpose and your passion. And if you're not doing that, you have to ask yourself, why? What's holding me back right now? My guess is it's a fear of some sort. Scarcity, lack, I can't do that. I'm not deserving, I'm not good enough. Whatever those things are, discover them, create awareness around them, heal them, and let them go. And the second question, are you willing to let go of that which is not yours to do, and it may never have been, and embrace that which is yours to do? I got a little choked up. I forgot in my bio that Russ read about me being in medical sales. I made a lot of money so that I could send my kids to whatever college they wanted, but it sucked the soul out of me. I love being with people. I love helping patients, but I worked my way up the career ladder, and became a vice president of sales, which took me away from the things that I love to do. Made good money, and by the time I was done, I didn't know who I was. I ended up moving here to Colorado so my son could have in-state tuition and I didn't have to work as hard. That's when I found an energy coach that changed my life, that I found my purpose and my passion. But it took a long time. And I had to really reinvent myself. And I think I've shared this with you before. I spent a year on the couch, drinking a lot of wine, watching YouTube videos, doing guided meditations, trying to figure out what the heck was going on with me. And it's because I wasn't being true to myself. So embrace yours. What is yours to do? Benjamin Franklin says this: if passion drives you, let wisdom hold the reins. So when we're creating our new life, we can go forth with no plan, just into following our bliss, which might be a little naive. Or we can put a little wisdom behind that. And by that, I mean, I'll use this example. When you get into your car, hopefully you have a spare tire in your trunk. But do you think about every time you get into your car, I'm so glad I have that spare tire in my trunk? You don't. It's sort of the backup plan, isn't it? But it runs behind the scenes so you're not focusing on your backup plan. That's the wisdom in your choices. If you save for a rainy day fund, guess what? The rainy day is going to come. If you save because you just love money and you like having some in your savings account, it's totally different. I'm an auto tither. Every month, money comes out of my account. I don't have to think about it. I just know it's there. And ever since I've been doing that, things just keep coming in that give me more money. It replaces that and then some. So as we talk about using that passion and that wisdom, allow that to hold the reins. We think of the things in our lives that we should do, okay? Shoulds come from the head. We're thinking, we're trying to be logical about it. When we think of what Wayne Dyer said, being inspired, that's from the heart. So when we connect the two, those are the can-dos. We're putting our head and your heart together so that you can accomplish whatever it is you want to do. And I'm going to tell you a little story, since we just had International Women's Day, about Sarah Blakely, because I'm sure, like you had never heard about her before. Sarah Blakely was a door-to-door salesperson selling fax machines. She's kind of doing like I was, but she knew she wanted to do something bigger. She had a bigger vision for her life. And so one day she was getting ready to go to a party, and she really didn't like the way she looked. And she wanted something that would smooth out her figure and allow her clothing to fit a little bit better. And she didn't want to be uncomfortable wearing it. So she followed her intuition, created passion, and created something called Spanx to hold everything in. She had no background whatsoever in fashion or business, manufacturing, marketing. She really didn't know how to do any of that. But she believed in her idea. She had a deep emotional connection to other women and empowering other women. And that's what helped her remain confident throughout this journey, the hardest parts of it. She taught herself without knowing anything about patent law to manufacturing. She cold called factory after factory after factory, begging someone to just create a prototype for her. She finally found one factory that would produce her product. And then she was inspired, once again, to send that prototype to Oprah Winfrey's team. They loved it. Oprah then named Spanx one of her favorite things in the world. And this skyrocketed her idea, her inspiration, not any knowledge of knowing what to do, into her mainstream success. She didn't run expensive ads. She built her business on storytelling and created this loyal customer base. So by aligning her head with her heart, she turned Spanx into a billion-dollar empire. And all along, she said, half of my fortune I'm going to give back to charity that empowers women and lifts up other women entrepreneurs. Do you have a dream that's inside your heart? You deeply believe in it, but your head is telling you you can't do it. You're unsure how to execute it. Sometimes that how comes later. The most important part is to take that first step, just like Sarah did. Does her story spark any inspiration in your own life? So in closing today, I want you to remember that infinity symbol. You're going to be doing this all week long, being in the flow. This infinity symbol represents the three parts. As Ernest Holmes talked about, it's the giving, the receiving, and the connection in the middle is utilization of what comes into your life. And it's all done with passion and heartfelt abundance for whatever you want to bring into your life. I'll leave you with one final quote from Howard Thurman. He says this: "Don't ask yourself what the world needs. Ask yourself what makes you come alive, and go and do that. Because guess what? The world needs people like you to make it come alive." So let's take that into prayer. Giving such great thanks for the abundant nature of everything that we do in our lives. The giving, the receiving, the utilization of all that is there. It is there for us, for the taking. It is our birthright. It is who we are. As we become inspired this week to keep alive that dream in our heart, to wrap our heads around our heart, and remember that we can do anything when we are backed by God. So we just breathe into that beautiful experience. We take that magnificence of our life purpose and apply it to our lives this week. You can do anything you put your heart and your head behind. And so this week I invite us all to welcome in that beautiful magnificence, that bountiful good, the planting of the seeds in this new garden of life. Whatever it is we choose to do, we do so with heartfelt admiration for growth and unity in this world. For we are all beacons of light. We are all beacons creating a path, not that just illuminates for us, but allows for others to illuminate their paths as well, so that they may see the light, the beauty, the love of God's blessing in our lives. And I, for one, am so grateful for this. I'm so grateful for the manifestations of this prayer. I am so grateful that God works in our lives in mysterious and wonderful ways, helping unfold what we don't even see today. And so I just release this prayer, always and in all ways, on the wings of love, into that beautiful alchemy of love and law, where it's already here. The truth has been revealed, the veil has been lifted. It is already happening. And together we say, and so it is. Amen.
Oh, I can't help it. God makes me want to sing. Hey, I can't help it. God makes me want to sing. Makes me feel so good I can do most anything. Oh, I am loving every living thing. I can see the face of God in paupers and kings. We're all precious, no one less or more. We've all got the same treasure in store. I am loving every living thing. Say, can't help it. God makes me want to sing. I can't help it. God makes me want to sing. Hey. Makes me feel so good I can do most anything. I'm believing in my guiding light. No matter what comes, it always turns out right. I just dig right down to how I feel and take a deep breath, grab the wheel. I'm believing in my guiding light. Can't help it, God makes me want to sing. Can't help it, God makes me want to sing. Makes me feel so good I can do most anything. Yes, I am rising to a higher place, with the wind in my back and a smile upon my face. Ooh, I'm living my dream a little more each day. It keeps getting easier to find my way. I'm rising to a higher place. I can't help it, God makes me want to sing. Can't help it, God makes me want to sing. Makes me feel so good I can do most anything. It makes me feel so good I can do most anything.